My name is Al Beacon, and I've been a member here at Longue Vue for 41 years, and which has been a privilege for me. And I am the chairman of the Capital Campaign. We're enjoying a time of really positive momentum here at Longue Vue. The golf course, and again, I speak from 41 years experience, the golf course is the best it's ever been. The staff, the food quality, and the level of service are all excellent. Thanks to the great work of the membership committee and our members, we've brought 145 new members in over the past 3 years. Now, 145 is a big number. However, we obviously every year deal with normal attrition rates. Over the last 3 years, we've netted more than 65 new members across all categories. Very importantly, everyone should know that Longue Vue's financial position is strong. And I think everyone is aware of the fact that our 100th anniversary is 2 years away, the club having been founded in 1920. So now more than ever, it's critical to maintain or sustain the momentum that actually has been started over the last 3 to 4 years. We need to meet or exceed our members' expectations. We need to compete successfully with other clubs for new members, and that's a job that obviously never stops. Clubs that don't reinvest in their facilities spiral downhill. There's evidence of that here in Western Pennsylvania, and I think everyone's aware of some of those situations. We will not let Longue Vue get into that position. But our goal is to raise $3.5 million and to have 100% participation at whatever level every member can participate at and feel comfortable. We have, and everybody should know this, 100% participation from our board members. And this was achieved within the first 2 weeks of our campaign, which was introduced in June. So there's a terrific vote of confidence from our, I believe it's 18, which is perhaps too many, but I believe it's 18 board members with a terrific vote of confidence of where we're headed here. And we currently have pledges over $850,000 with between 20 and 25% of our members participating. As everyone knows, quite obviously, the greatness of Longue Vue is our membership. I mean, I think if you look around, I expect you see some of your best friends here, perhaps friends that you knew prior to joining Longue Vue, but in many cases, friends who became your best friends through your experience at Longue Vue. We want our children and our grandchildren to be able to have the privileges that we've enjoyed over the last 100 years. And for those of you that have already contributed, your support is sincerely appreciated. For those of you that are about to contribute, thanks in advance. That having been said, I'm going to turn this over to David, who, if he counts his membership as a child, is outstripped my 41 years here. And he's going to give you a little flavor for the history of Longue Vue. And again, thanks for your attention and thanks for coming.
So for those of you that don't know me, my name is David Gilpatrick. I've been a member of Longue Vue since 1981. You're going to see a picture of a kid in a swimsuit at the pool here. I deny any knowledge of who that kid might be. But my parents joined in 1960, so I've essentially been kicking around out here all 54 years of my life. So as many of you know, we're approaching our centennial. Longue Vue is going to be 100 years old in 2020. And I want to take a few minutes just to talk about the history of our wonderful club and how kind of we've evolved into what Longue Vue is today. So in 1920, 17 affluent Pittsburgh industrialists got together, including the presidents of Weirton Steel and Westinghouse Air Brake, as well as the mayor of the city of Pittsburgh. They pooled $150,000 together and acquired 345 acres of farmland in Penn Township, which is now known as Penn Hills. So anyhow, we're 200 feet above the Allegheny River, and the founders commissioned renowned architect Benno Jansen to design the clubhouse, and construction, which utilized stone from a stone quarry 1.5 miles from our current location, took place from 1921 to 1925 at a total construction cost of $266,000. Our golf course was designed in 1920 by Robert White, who happened to be the first president of the PGA, and opened for play in May of 1923. Interestingly, Longue Vue around Western Pennsylvania in those early days wasn't really known as Longue Vue. It was known as the Millionaires Club, basically due to the affluence of the membership at that time. So as you probably know, doing the math, we're now 98 years old. Any idea, I'm going to ask my friend Rob Reuter, any idea how many golf professionals, head professionals we've had in those 98 years? Five. We've had 6. Well, think about that, 98 years and we've had 6 golf professionals. Dale Zimmerman was the original head professional from 1920 to 25. The famed Willie Mackay from 1926 to 1959. Willie Belgian from 60 to 64. Roland Stafford, who several of us remember, 67 to 72. And then there's this fella that took over in 73 by the name of Ken Pizzica that some of us may or may not know. And then our friend Steve Antonucci took over as head professional in 08. I just think that's astounding. 98 years, 6 head professionals. I think that says something great about our Longue Vue. As I think a lot of you know, looking at our logo, we did offer equestrian activities, here at Longue Vue, from 1922 until 1941, basically when we got into World War II. 6 miles of bridle paths roamed through the golf course area. The stables were located in what was the maintenance facility down by the road, which was recently torn down finally to make room for a brand new state-of-the-art facility. Swimming pool was constructed here in 1933 at a cost of $14,000, and the board in those days, and I've read all these board minutes, was trying to figure out who's going to pay for the pool. Members stepped up and said, I got it, I'll take care of the pool. So the grass tennis courts, which were down here, were moved. The pool was built in 33, and the grass tennis courts were moved over in front of the men's locker room in the parking lot. Basically, that was just a big lawn at that time. The tennis courts ended up in their current location up here, I believe, in 1963, and then later on, the 2 up above by the paddle courts were built. Thankfully, for the membership and staff, the club was air-conditioned in 1953. I'm sure there were a lot of long, hot summers. And the major addition of the ballroom and the ladies' locker room area underneath took place in 1954. So legend has it, when there was a financial shortfall, when the club struggled, the founders got together and either cut the cards and rolled the dice, and whoever came up took care of the shortfall. And that's how they balanced the budget. Jay, I think at the board level we ought to try to do that. The aforementioned lawn in front of the men's locker room, legend has it that croquet or lawn bowling was played on that prior to the tennis courts getting moved over there. 2 apartments are in the club. They're upstairs. They're no longer apartments. You may have been through them on Halloween's as part of the haunted house. But those apartments back in the day, let's say the late 30s, were used for members that, for whatever reason, maybe didn't have their car keys and couldn't get home. So they were able to stay at the club. And in later days, those 2 apartments were used by a longtime club manager, Madeline Odata, if anybody remembers that name, and a longtime hostess, Miss Burney, Helen Burney, back in the day. So what a history. So why am I telling you all this? I'd like to think it's modestly entertaining, but our club has an unparalleled history. Extremely interesting, and we should all embrace that history, and I think most of us in this room do. Second, when there was a need at the club back in the day, the members took care of the need. Whether it was a swimming pool or a ballroom or plowing the roads so that we could get here to the dinner party. I know times have changed, economics have changed, but the pride that we feel, all of us, staff, that we all feel in our club, when we bring guests to our club, when we talk about our club, has not changed. So, our second century capital campaign is underway. That's what tonight's all about. It should be a rousing success. We should all feel pride in our club. We should have 100% member participation. Everybody can give at different levels. It doesn't matter. But we want to sustain the elegance and the history that is Longue Vue, just as the founders did so many years ago. So I thank you for your attention. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to our club president, Jay Adams. Thanks, everybody.
The first thing I want to say is I'm just honored and privileged to be here. This is just an incredible club. It's an incredible place. People that I hang out with, my friends, are all Longue Vue members. That's what this place means to me. I was at a birthday dinner party. The host, she stood up and she looked around and she said, I want to thank my husband, who it was his birthday, for loving golf, which I thought was odd. And then she said, and I want to thank him for loving Longue Vue, because without Longue Vue, I would have never met all the people that were in that room that day. There were 9 couples there, and all 9 were members of Longue Vue. And that, to me, I never thought about it. I looked around, and I couldn't believe that, that's what this place means to people and to the culture and to families. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to look around at some of the boards that are up here. Some of the boards show what we've accomplished so far. And I want to spend a little bit of time talking about that. One of the things, obviously the main drive, when you drive in here, a year ago when you drove in here, it was a little bumpy, and now that main drive has been paved. One of the other things were the golf cart paths all around the golf course. Those of you who ride carts, I can tell you, they were literally, you couldn't even ride on them without your head being like a bobblehead. Those have been paved. When you look around, we've started this maintenance compound. As David said, the maintenance compound was from the 20s. It was a barn. It was falling down. You talk about things that nobody wants to spend money on. I'll be very honest. I never even looked down there. But I will tell you, it had to be replaced. It's 100 years old. This wall back here at the Men's Grill hillside, again, that's something that nobody wants to spend money on, but if you've tried to park on that side, you kind of question whether or not you should be parking there. Because you get a little worried your car may end up down in the river. And that's the point. These are things that, we have to replace. The path for not investing in the infrastructure of a club has been paved by other clubs all across the country. We have to invest in our facilities and in our property. Now let's talk about some of the things that we're going to do. One of the things, the driving range. Quite frankly, when you brought a guest, you were hoping that your guest would be a little bit late so he wouldn't have to go down and hit off, just off the dirt. When you look at some of the other things, the bathrooms, some of the bathrooms and in the locker room, they haven't been touched since the 50s. The 50s, that's right. We talked about the Formica. We think, the joke is that maybe one of the board members had a last name of Formica because it seems to be in all the bathrooms. These are things that have to be replaced, that have to be updated, all right? These things cost money, and we need to raise this $3.5 million is what we're looking to raise. What that comes down to for each of the charter members, and I know there's some social members here as well, what we're looking for is $10,000 per charter member. That's what we're looking for. I know that may sound like a big number, but that's what we think. We have 370 charter equivalents. 370 charter equivalents. We have 590 total members. The math is very simple. At $10,000 per member times 370, that's 3.7 million. Give or take a little bit, that's what we're hoping for. So charter members, we're looking for $5,000. Now, here's the good news. Here's the good news. We will make it as easy as possible for you to donate to this campaign. Over a 5-year period of time, that's 60 months. So $166.67 per month over the next 5 years is $10,000. The second option is you call Todd and say, hey, I'd like to give $2,000 now. I'd like to spread the rest over the next 5 years, and we will be as flexible as possible. And at the end of the day, we want to make Longue Vue as great as we can. So thank you very much. I'm going to be here. David's going to be here. There's a number of other board members that are here. We're here to answer any questions that you may have. I've been under the weather all week, so I'm going to have a cocktail. That's what I'm going to do. Thanks for coming.